Let's get into it. Just want to go over my pre-market game plan going into tomorrow. So expected a little bit more right off the bat from this NVDA earnings, but we'll let this develop. We'll come back to this. It's only 1:03, 3 minutes after market close. But let's get into it. So solid day here on the SPY, solid day here on the market. We did move to the upside, start of open, super solid day, at least at market open. But if you watch my live trading session, something that I said today is one thing I noticed as soon as market open is inside bar day, stuck in between the previous day high and the previous day low. So the way we opened today, very happy with that on the overall market. Not really see this thing push to the upside, to the downside. Like I said, as long as we are above the 653, we are bullish bias on this name. So beautiful day here on this SPY. Like I've been saying, if you're only looking for long setups off our key levels, you made a lot of money today, right? You did get a proper break, good displacement, retest here. And I mean, look at this. This is a 2-minute time frame, just straight up. That is wild. So beautiful here, market open. We only had one down close candle, which was our first candle, and we pushed all the way up on the dot. I mean, our key level was 667.35. The high day was 667.34. So that tells me I did my job. I found a key level. It got respected on the dot. So market opens at 6:30. For me, we pushed all the way up till 7:17. So almost an hour, just straight upside. But this is crazy to see. Just no down close candle on the 2-minute. So solid day here. Going into tomorrow, I know I'm bullish bias on this name. So something that I always say is I don't really trade the SPY and the Qs, but if there's no other setup on the tech names that I'm looking for, I'm open to scalping on the overall SPY and the Qs. This is a very solid setup. I'm really looking for that. Why? Because we'll be outside of this range, outside of this channel, and that's a continuation higher. Like I said, technically up here we are in a channel, but I'm very open, right, to a break and retest over 667.35. That's a high probability shot. And, right, I don't want anything in here. We're already in a channel, and then we're in between the previous day high and the previous day low. Give me one sec. Like, I don't want anything in here. See what I mean? So if we open tomorrow in between the previous day high and the previous day low and we're already in a channel, I'm hands off. But for me personally, that's solid. So a break and retest over 667.35, I'm very open to that. As we know, my A plus long opportunity, which is the dip buy for me, is 673. I'll zoom out here on the daily just to show you why. Give me one sec. Right? Like I said, this technically a channel. I want to see the top of this channel turn into support. If we could reclaim that, that looks super solid. Looks super solid. But the last 2 days, right, in between the previous day high, previous day low, but solid open today on the SPY. Very solid open. We know the 667.35 is a key level here. If we can get one of those, right, and target 673, that's a solid setup. Qs. Let's go here. Same thing today. Opened up in between the previous day high, previous day low. I was actually looking for a trade on the Qs, but the momentum was so strong. Look at this. We broke outside of our key level here, but you can see we never got a retest. Never got a retest. We broke out at 602.85. I was looking for that, but look how strong the momentum was. So we don't chase that, right? Straight up equals straight down. We see that every day. Then volume has to get filled. Now, tomorrow on the Qs, what am I looking for? Confluence that I really like here. As you know, if I have to choose between the SPY and the Qs, I prefer trading the Qs. There's no right or wrong way, to each their own, right? I just prefer trading the Qs over the SPY. I think it just moves a little bit cleaner. That's just my opinion. So 2 things that I like here. I'm open to this. Reason for that being is we're bullish buyers. We're trending on the higher time frame, but there's a lot of thin volume in here. I just showed you on the 2-minute straight up equals straight down. Unmitigated liquidity, right? I like that. If we can get a break and retest over this targeting this previous day high in the top of this range, very solid. Also, why do I like a break and retest over 607.35? Is because we'll be above the previous day high and we'll be outside of this channel. I really like that. That's a continuation higher. And as we know, just like I broke down on the SPY, this is my A plus opportunity over 612.80. You guys know I've been hawking this thing. This is SPY's version of 673, right? So this is the A plus long opportunity, but I'm very open to taking that and very open to taking that. These are really solid setups. Over this, right? A lot of thin volume. Over this, we're above the previous day high, which I like, which means we're outside of that price range. And then of course, that's the A plus opportunity. So that's what I'm watching here. Like I said, we are bullish bias on the overall market. As long as we are above 587.85, I'm looking for pullback longs. Tesla, I really wanted to break this down with you guys very thoroughly, just because I want to show you how I quote unquote find high probability setups. So today, super solid shot. I planned my trade. I traded my plan. I'm very transparent. Let me show you guys. I took a loss here, $1,600 loss on Tesla. My goal as a trader is to look back on my trades in hindsight and say I would 100% take that trade again. 8 times out of 10, that works. Today, it didn't work. It was a super solid setup. I took a break and retest over 410. We know this is our key level that we're watching. I don't trade my P&L. I actually got to push into this high day, but I don't care for the quick scalps. I'm looking for continuation. So I was up roughly 7%. I don't care about that. I'm looking for the bigger move because why? I'm always focused on my RR trades, right? That being said, super solid trade. This pulls back because Qs and SPY is pulling back. So 8 times out of 10, that works today. It just wasn't that day. 1 trade a day, win or lose, and I walk away. That is like part of my edge. I'm very big on that. But what I want to break down thoroughly is, like I said, if you watch my live trading session, I'm starting to notice that that Tesla is starting to sit in a channel. So what do? As price goes on, or as days goes on, I'm looking for more key levels. Looking for more key levels. And what do I notice here on the 4-hour? Huh. I got a key level here that I just marked out today on this 4-hour. You can clearly see this 398.20. That is a solid support level. Every time we push into here, which is the damage body tells the story, buyers step in very aggressively. Let's go here on the daily. Look at these last 4 to 5 days. You can see price is just starting to consolidate. So what do? I mark out my key level on the 4-hour. And this is how I clean my chart up. Let's go here on the 15-minute. What am I going to do? I'm going to get rid of this. Get rid of that. Look how clean that looks now. So now, coming into tomorrow, because as we know, I avoid channels. I don't want anything to do in here. You can see my thesis here. That's why I really recommend, watching that live trading session, because I break this down perfectly. You can see our 410. Like I said, as long as we are under 410, we are bearish bias. This is acting as a very strong resistance level. Every time price pushes into here, sellers step in. So today, what I want to see this channel turn into support. There's nothing in this way to the upside except for here. I can expect price to gravitate towards this 419 like it did this day it broke out, like it did that day it broke out, which was on Monday, right? Gravitate towards here and continue higher. So that is a high probability shot. I would 100% take that again. So now that I know, hey, this is a channel I'm avoiding, tomorrow is very simple. Why? Because I let my trades come to me. The only two things I'm looking for tomorrow on Tesla is a break and retest over 410. I love the correlation here in the confluence because it's also with the previous day high, or a break and retest under 398.20 because we can clearly see here, this is a very strong support level. Every time price pushes into it, buyers step up very aggressively, pushing this thing higher. And we know if we're under 410, we are bearish bias. This is how I spot my high probability setups. I want to avoid channels. Look at this. It's nothing in here. The last 2 days, right? Just in between the previous day high and the previous day low. I don't want anything to do with that. So tomorrow, my two key levels, break and retest under 398.20 to the downside, or break and retest over 410. Why? Because now we're getting in at the bottom of the range and we would be bullish bias. Of course, if we gap under 398, you're looking for a pop and fade, or break and retest under 298. And of course, if we open or gap above 410, you're looking for a pullback long off of 410. NVDA. So, I mean, honestly, very beautiful here. Very beautiful. We know we are bullish bias on this name. Let me zoom out here on the daily. So, as you know, something that I've said in the past, not too long ago, and I continue to say, if we fall under 184, give me one sec. If we fall under 184, I'm hands off. Why? Because I don't want to be in here. I don't want anything to do with that. The high probability setup for me is a long off of 184, a long off of 190, or a break and retest over 195. Those are high probability setups. I want to avoid the channel. We can clearly see we're bullish bias. Let's look at yesterday, right? I know I broke this down. I mean, look at NVIDIA just holding market structure. Holding market structure. As you know, we're not looking to trade this name yesterday or today because it has earnings, but we pull back, shoot up to the top of the range. What do? We push all the way up. We pull back, buyer step up, we push up again. This is a trending name. Like I said, you want to get in at the bottom of the range before we get back to all-time highs. So for me, coming into tomorrow, I'm looking for a long off this 184.50. That's also a weekly level. I love that. And then of course, a break and retest off this 190.10, which is also a weekly level. And if we get that break and retest over the 190.10, we're also above the previous day high. That means price is likely to continue higher. We're outside of a range, we're outside of a channel, and we're continuing to the upside. That is beautiful. That is textbook. Let me go here on the 1 hour so you can see exactly what I mean, right? I know I've been breaking this down. There's a bull flag setting up on the daily here on the video. So if we can get a break and retest over 190, that is solid. Honestly, any long over 184.50 is a solid long. We know we're bullish bias on this name. Zoom here to the daily again. I mean, that looks really, really good. So if we fall under 184, I'm hands off, but I'm just looking for a pullback off of 184. This 184, break and retest over 190.10, and break and retest over 195.60. I mean, hey, these are the dip buys. These are the dip buys. The trend is your friend, and the dip is what? Say it with me, your best friend. So earnings as of now looks pretty solid. Not much has happened yet. Maybe going into tomorrow. We'll see, but we didn't sell off. That's all I know. We didn't sell off, so that's a good thing. We're still bullish bias on the same. Apple, solid day on Apple. So I was looking at Apple. Go watch that live trading session, but I have to stick to my rules. My rules is what got me here. So I do not trade channels. I do not trade channels. I avoid them because they're low probability environments. But I've been telling you folks, it is a valid long off of 267.10. That's a valid long. You can see right here. Every time we pull back to the bottom of this range, buyers step up aggressively and push this thing higher. That's a valid long if you look for that. Pre-market, we almost pulled back to 264.05, but we just didn't get it. You guys know I'm looking for this. Why? Because this is day plus dip before we get back to the top of this range. So same game plan as it was yesterday, going into today, and the day before yesterday. I'm looking for a break and retest over 271 or a pullback long off this 264. I'll go here on the intraday, give you a better visual. Almost had it. I mean, look at the day on Apple. Like I said, there's no in between on Apple. Apple's either going to give you a beautiful trendy day or it's going to give you a crappy day. There's no in between. We were looking for this. We ended up pulling back pre-market from 264.65. Our key level here is 264.05. Almost got it. We didn't get it. But look how much Apple moved on intraday. You know, we pretty much opened up at 265.50 and this thing pushed all the way up to 272.21, right? That's a big move for Apple. But you can still see we're in here. We're in here. But if you got that today, super solid. I'll go here on the intraday. I mean, look at that. Good displacement, candle closure, retest here. This thing pushed to the top of the range. So kudos to you if you caught that. Solid trade, but I avoid channels. Now, the way I see this is setting up. This is setting up because I love the correlation in the confluence here. It's the previous day high. So if we can get a break and retest over 271.40, that is a very solid shot. And still looking for this. The deeper the pullback, the better. So I'm looking for this, and I'm looking for this. Anywhere in here is a channel, but hey, if you want to take a long off this 267.10, that is a valid shot. Something I want to say regarding Apple is, I mean, there's been clear divergence on this name. Really for the last 2 weeks, we've seen that day in and day out. So we know we're bullish bias. It's sitting back in this channel. I mean, look at this on the 1 hour. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want anything to do with that. History likes to repeat itself. Go look at last week when we broke above this channel and how clean the price action was. So hope that makes sense. But still, same 2 key levels. I'm going to be patient. Let my trade come to me. Is a break and retest over 271.40. I love the confluence here with the previous day high. Or just still waiting for this gap fill. Waiting for this deeper pullback. The dip is your friend because I want to be in a trade down here before we get back to the top of this range. Pull back long off of 264.05. AMD. So let's go here on the daily, right? We've been watching AMD. So if you've been watching my live trading sessions, I have not been touching this name. There's been some solid setups, I guess, you know, pullback longs. Yesterday was a beautiful pullback long day, but the IV is so high. I'm actually going to go to the contracts here in a second just to show you. I do not touch a name if the IV is through the roof. You don't want to get crushed on those. But this is a big pivotal moment here in AMD. We've seen every time we push back to 225, buyers step up and push this thing to the top of the range. Step up, push this thing to the top of the range. We stepped up yesterday at 225 and pushed this thing back up to 234.20, right? So this is a key level. So the fact that, you know, we broke under this today towards the end of the day, you can see the divergence on AMD now compared to all the other names that's moving to the upside. NVDA. Today, Tesla pretty much an inside bar day. Apple still very bullish. The overall market still very bullish. But this is what's happening now on AMD. So be very patient here tomorrow because we can easily reclaim this and move back to the upside. It's kind of the same thing as Tesla's 410 level. If we get above 225 on AMD, we are bullish bias. So read the price action. You know, tomorrow, let's say pre-market, we don't sweep this previous day low liquidity and we open up above 225. A pop and fade targeting this previous day low. That's a solid setup. That's a very solid setup. But, right, let's go here. Look at the IV here. It's 94. The average IV on this thing is 68, low 60s, mid 60s. 94, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that at all. So just be very cautious there. Look at the IV. Pay attention to that. But coming into tomorrow, right? This is your key level here. This 225. You've got to be patient. You've got to read the price action. You don't want to get squeezed. You don't want to be part. You know, you don't want to, this thing reclaims and then, you know, you get under here and you take a short and then, hey, that thing ends up fueling that move to the upside. So that's what I mean. So how do you avoid getting faked out? How do you avoid those things without always teaching you got to wait for proper displacement? You have to wait for proper displacement. I want to see that sellers are 100% in control and then take my shot. If I have to guess if sellers are in control, they're not in control. It's really that simple. Like I say, trading is what you make it. This is a very solid setup. Very solid setup. So just be patient here. Read the price action. Make sure you look at the IV prior to taking this trade. I can't stress that enough. Make sure you take the IV, check the IV, excuse me, prior to taking that trade. If the IV is high, I'm hands off. So tomorrow, 225 is your key level to watch. You can see buyers are even stepping up here during the after hours. Another thing, if I really want to short off this, I'm very comfortable. Just want to give you guys a good visual. I'm very comfortable. Like I would prefer, you know, if we opened up like down here, like okay, cool. At least we gap down. At least we gap down. Now I'm more comfortable looking for a pop and fade. I'd rather look for that, like a gap down and then a pop and fade off that level. So you can see, right, we're starting to reclaim this. So just be cautious here, well, with AMD. But like I said, look at the IV here. It's very, very high. And then Palantir. So super cool here. Super, super cool. Someone sent me an email today and they ended up making $20,000 off this trade. It was a young lady, super cool. Right? We planned our trade. We traded our plan. So super, super cool to her. Kudos to her. Congrats on that trade. We know if we're under 169, we are bearish bias. We know that. So what did she do? Coming into today, we opened under 169. Just look for that pop and fade. She spotted some divergence here on the overall market compared to Palantir. Took her shot. I just showed you QQQ and SPY, right? The first, hour, just straight upside. No down close candles on a 2 minute. And then we get a pop and fade off our 169. And what does that do? Fuels this thing to the downside. So as long as we're under 169, we're bearish bias. So kudos to her. You can see a lot's going on right now during the after hours. So coming into tomorrow, right? Still, same game plan. We're under 169. You're bearish bias. Let's zoom out here on the daily. If you want a more conservative play on Palantir, if you want a more conservative play, you're solid waiting for that. You know you're bearish bias under 169. You'll also be under the previous day low. You'll also be, under the previous day low. That's a valid shot. There's nothing in its way. The next key level of support is way down here. So if you just want to wait for a break and retest on the 163, I mean, look at the RR here. That is a solid setup. Look at the RR there. We're bearish bias now on this name. I mean, you can see after we made all-time highs, just straight downside. Straight downside. So super solid here. Kudos to her on that trade. Now that we got those done, let's look at the side watches really quick. Google's just so strong, bro. Google is just so strong. It's really nothing you can do. I mean, look at this. Google's just so strong. You just got to wait for more price action to develop. And once that occurs, hopefully we could just find some more key levels. Like I said in the past, something that I'm very open to here on Google is this. Just got to wait for this to set up. A daily candle to form above here. See, this will be very different if this wick closed. If that was a bullish wick and the body of the candle closed here, that would be solid, and then I would be looking for that. Targeting here, that's a solid setup. But you can clearly see that did not occur today. So you want to see the top of this range, 291.95, like I teach you, to turn and to support. So if you want to look at Google, by all means, go for it. But just know, on the intraday, just be patient. You got to wait for proper displacement because we just made another all-time high. So if we shoot up, like I said, we're already late to the party if we enter up here. So if this thing shoots up and wants to do one of these, literally just like it did today, that's 100% valid. So for me, I'm really just waiting for one of these or this. We're going to let price develop for the next couple of days. And hey, if we can get some candle closures up here and then a pullback long and see the top of this range turn into support, that's a valid shot. So just be patient here on Google, but you're bullish biased. And then Amazon. So give me one sec. Right. I've already explained this. I'm biased. I'm sorry, I'm not biased. I'm both ways here on Amazon. There's really no right or wrong way because I just showed you on the weekly. Now we're in a channel on the weekly. Right now we're in a channel. There's nothing in here. You can take a shot, right? You can go long or you can go short. But this, I wanted to see that this 236 turn into support and then push this thing higher. But instead, we fell under it, as you can see, and now we're just back in this channel. So for Amazon, hands off, but you're not wrong to go short or go long on this name. So today, right, we ended up pulling down, not a deep enough pullback for my liking, but this is a solid setup tomorrow. We can clearly see our weekly level, our 22610, our weekly, and it's a weekly level. I mean, we can see it's being highly respected, highly respected. So what do I love about this? Tomorrow, if you're looking for this, will also be over the previous day high, will be outside of this channel. A break and retest over that is very solid. You can target this, super solid setup. So that's the game plan on Amazon. Appreciate the love, support. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. I really appreciate all the feedback I'm getting. Makes me happy that you guys are cashing out on these plays. Super cool. Something that I always say, it's the same trades that I take, it's the same trades I'm giving you. So hope you're learning. Like I said, I want to show you the difference of letting your trades come to you, identifying high probability setups, and all those good things. So once again, appreciate it. I will see you guys tomorrow.